What is going on, guys? Gaston right here, and today we're gonna be talking about this guy that I have in front of me. This filmmaking, vlogging, content creation, whatever you want to call a setup, which is light, super powerful, and super impressive. Let's talk about it. Welcome back to the channel, guys, and before we jump into the setup, I want to remind you guys that I'm giving away a brand new Sony A7SIII to anyone that's watching this video right now. To enter, simply subscribe to this channel right now, enable notifications, and you must follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm going to be making the announcement on December 24th or the 25th, so good luck to all of you guys. Now, let's talk about this machine that I built, which is super compact, light, yet very, very powerful. Now, like I mentioned before, the core of this build is around the Sony A7SIII, and I know that a lot of people haven't got the camera, but I got to play with this camera, and yes, I'm very impressed with all the features that we have. Now, I'm not gonna go in depth on all the features, but I wanna touch points of this camera, why I consider this such a powerful camera. Number one, we're gonna have 4K video up to 120 frames per second, 10-bit 422, internally onto 2 SD cards. Now remember, this one has CF Express card. You can actually pop those cards, but for most 4K videos, you're not gonna need those cards, so it makes it really affordable to actually, load up cards and change them around. Now the other thing is that this camera features a 12 megapixel sensor, and for a lot of people that may not be enough for photography, but to be honest with you, I thought the same until I started taking pictures with this camera. I'll show you a few right now. And to be honest with you, I was very, very impressed with the quality of the images. So if your images are gonna end up mostly on social media, on the web, or on catalogs, you're not gonna have any problem shooting great, crispy, sharp images with the Sony A7SIII. Now, this is what I consider a setup that I can actually grab and go. But again, if I'm gonna be going to a portrait shoot, of course, I'm gonna bring my Sony A7 IV because I'm gonna take advantage of all that extra resolution. Now, for someone that does mostly videos and occasional pictures for thumbnails or, social media posts, this camera is actually a great choice. Now, the next thing that we're gonna be talking about is this microphone, because of course, if you don't have great sound, it doesn't matter how good is the quality of your video. A lot of the time it's better having better sound than actually better image. But if you can have them both, why not? And this is the case. Last but not least, we're gonna talk about the grip, because this grip not only is gonna allow us to hold the camera, but also is gonna allow us to control the camera. Now, one of the things that you're gonna notice is that there are no wires here, Everything is either wireless or it's actually controlled or fit up from the camera itself. So what we're gonna do right now is I wanna deconstruct the setup just to show you guys how easy it is to set up this camera and actually pack all the gear that we have right now. So this is basically what I would actually pack up if I have to go on a trip, or wanna capture some videos, have fun with the family. I may also bring this lens right here. This one is the 24 to 70mm F2.8 because, the lens that I'm gonna be talking about right now is a 20mm. So from here, I go from the 24 to 70mm. And if I wanna be shooting portraits, if I wanna be doing a little bit of landscape, even animals and stuff like that, I'm gonna be able to do it with this lens. Let's talk about the lens right now, because the lens is actually super compact. So the reason why I picked up the 20mm F1.8 is because I could have gotten my 24 F1.4, it's faster, but it's also bigger and a little bit heavier. And I don't consider the lens wide enough, especially because this camera features image steady shot. And when you engage in the active mode, because it has off, standard, and active, when you engage in the active mode, the camera is gonna crop, making your lens, less wide. So with the 20mm, I find that even when I'm actually in active mode, I actually can have a super wide angle field of view and still, fit everything comfortably in the framing. So this is the lens. Now let's talk a little bit about the lens, because there's a lot of good things to say about this lens. Number one, like I mentioned before, is super short, and by the way, it comes with this lens hood, and I recommend that you always put it in the camera, because this lens, it is a wide angle lens, and you're gonna see the bulging of the lens. It's really easy to flare with it, and especially if you're gonna be shooting in bright daylight conditions, I recommend you always have it with you. Now, the lens features, the manual focus ring is super smooth. It also features an aperture ring, so you can actually control the aperture from here, and we have a click and declick option. So Now, if you're not gonna be changing your aperture, probably you'll wanna click it and lock it in place. Or if you're gonna be racking aperture, for video, then you can declick it, so that way it's super small and you're not gonna be introducing sound into the camera. Now, the way I use it is actually in the A, which it locks, it's actually a force lock right there. And then I can control my aperture using the front dial of my camera. So let me pop it in the camera right now so you guys can see how compact and small this setup is. What else? Now we have an autofocus and manual focus switch right here, and we have a configure button that you can, configure to anything you want. Now the other reason why I go with the 20mm is because it allows me to actually angle my arm a little bit more, flex a little bit more. And when you stretch the arm, overstretch your arm, you're gonna notice that you're gonna get tired faster, but also you're gonna be introducing more motion to the camera, giving the camera a harder time stabilizing your footage. Now with this 20mm lens, you're gonna be able to hold the camera, number one, closer to you, which is gonna result in better audio quality, but also you're gonna be able to absorb a lot of the shock with your arms. Therefore, your footage is gonna be much more stable. So now the next part of the video, I wanna talk about this microphone right here, because this is a very impressive microphone. It's also a proprietary Sony microphone that is going to work by connecting to the camera from the shoe mount of the microphone. What that means is that this microphone is gonna connect with no wires, and let me show you right now. Now let's talk about some of the features that we also gonna find in this microphone, because this is what it makes this microphone so flexible. Number one, we're gonna have a sequence of dials and switches right here. The first one is gonna be the one to select the pickup pattern. So right there in this mode, I'm gonna get a super directional pickup pattern. Then it has a cardio mode, which is gonna pick up from the front and a little bit from the side. And then we have omnidirectional that is gonna pick up sound all around the microphone. Now, one of the things that is very incredible about this microphone is the capsules are not sticking forward. They're actually right here, and that makes it really, really nice. And I think that this is some of the technology that the ZV-1 has with the 3 capsules on the top of the camera. All right, so continuing with the features, one of my favorite things is that we have volume control right on the back of the camera. Then we have some filtering options there, like noise canceling. You can turn it on and off. We also have gain control right here. So you have 0 dB, you have 10 and 20. And you also have a manual and auto mode for the microphone. So basically the camera and the microphone are gonna pick up the best setting, for your video. So a lot of flexibility, guys. Now, again, it has to be by far one of my favorite features, the fact that, I don't have to connect a piece of cable right here. Now remember, the Sony A7SIII features a swivel screen, and this is another reason why this microphone is going to be, really handy, because all the things that I'll be plugging will be actually right here, and that could interfere sometimes if I wanna be flipping the screen. So being 100% wireless is gonna give me all that freedom to actually vlog with this camera and tilt the screen with no problem. Last but not least, let's talk about this grip, because this one is another impressive piece of equipment. So it connects like so by simply screwing it into the camera. And there you go. And the best part is that this grip also acts as a tripod, so if you wanna be laying the camera and conduct a video like this, you can do it with no problem. But you also have controls on the tripod, and I think that this is where this tripod or grip actually shines. Number one, you're gonna be able to start and stop a movie by hitting the movie record button. Now the other feature is that you can control the zooming of your lens if you have a lens with electronic zooming, like one of those kit lenses, or the 18-105 f4 lens, which is, by the way, a great lens. You're gonna be able to take pictures from the shutter release being also on the grip, and you're also gonna find a locking switch right here, because once again, this is a grip and you could accidentally press one of the buttons, so by locking it, you're gonna get peace of mind. So what I wanna do right now is I wanna show you the 3 different pickup patterns of this microphone, and we're gonna start with the direction and mode. So we're gonna turn on the camera, and now we're testing the Sony A7SIII, and the sound that you're hearing right now comes from the Sony microphone that is attached to the camera. Now the pickup pattern that I have assigned is the very directional, and if I flip the camera, you're gonna realize that right now, the sound should be muted from the back, and everything should be coming from the front. Now the next test is we're gonna switch it to the cardio mode, which is the one in the center. And remember, this one is going to pick up the sound from the front, and it's also gonna pick up a little bit of the sound from the side. So, and as you can see, you know, now I'm turning the camera 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and when I talk behind the camera, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Last but not least, we're gonna switch it to the omnidirectional mode, and now this one should pick up sound all around the microphone. So I can go and talk from the front like this. Hello, hello, Gaston, 1, 2, 1, 2. This is Gaston Shadow's channel. You should go and subscribe right now, and don't forget about my Sony A7SIII giveaway. Now, I can actually flip the camera, continue filming some of my scenery, and continue to record audio without actually, you know, losing the audio quality because I flipped the camera. Now, the omnidirectional pickup pattern is gonna be great if you actually wanna pick up sound from the front, but you're gonna be switching the camera back and forth. You also wanna pick up some of the surrounding, you know, sounds. If you're in the forest, you wanna hear the birds and stuff like that, and you wanna continue narrating the story. However, another thing that you could do is simply turning into directional mode, you know, when you're in this way, and anytime you wanna record from the back, then you can actually switch to omnidirectional if you want to do that. Probably if you're going to be doing that, you're going to forget, so maybe setting it up in omnidirectional is going to be a better option. But remember, you're going to be introducing sound from all around, including from the side. So guys, this has been my Sony A7SIII setup, and I try to build something similar with the Canon EOS R5, but the camera is much heavier and the lenses are also much heavier. So I consider the Sony A7SIII and this accessory being super compact, yet really powerful. So let me know what you think, guys. Drop your comments down below, and as always, subscribe to this channel for more content like this one. I'll see you in the next video.